y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Taya and this is Taya's Turning Pages. In today's video we'll be discussing my December / end of year TBR, and I can't believe I'm even saying that, y'all. I just don't understand how time flies by this quickly and we're already at the end of the year. But I do really like this time of the year, not only because of the holiday season and Christmas in particular, but also because I feel like this is a time where a lot of people do try to take it a bit easier and slow down ahead of the new year. And so I'm hoping that with some downtime that I'll have this month, that I'll be able to get through all of these books that I plan on sharing with you today, because I have so many good ones in here, or so many ones that I think will be really good and will probably end up as my favorites, and I just want to read all of them, but I just know it's physically impossible for me. This is definitely an ambitious end of year TBR, but you know, go big or go home, and that's exactly what we're gonna do here. So before we jump into the actual books, I just wanted to say that I apologize if you hear any background noise. There is like a windstorm or something like that going on outside. You can definitely hear it, so I'm gonna try to edit this as best as I can to try to filter out that noise, but I ain't a technician, nor am I an engineer, so we will see how this goes. iMovie only allows me to do certain things, but I just wanted to preface that. So with all of that out of the way, let's get started. So I'm actually just going to get the books that I don't have physical copies of yet out of the way, and the first book that I would like to read during the month of December is His and Hers by Alice Feeney. So you guys know that I love Alice Feeney down, and even though I didn't love Daisy Darker, I still enjoy the ride that I was taken on throughout the story, and Rock Paper Scissors is one of my favorite Alice Feeney novels. So I definitely plan on reading more of her books, and honestly I would like to read all of her books. So I'm going to go back into the catalog a little bit and read this one, and the only things that I know about this one is that I think it follows two detectives who are investigating a murder. Both of them have secrets. I think the male detective actually becomes a suspect in the investigation, while the female detective just has secrets of her own, and I think people are starting to get suspicious of her too. So I'm not sure where the story is going to go. Just by that general idea, I know that this book is going to have so many different twists and turns and things that I was not expecting, because that's Alice Feeney's style. So I cannot wait to dive into this one at some point, and this is one of her books that I'm actually really excited to read. This one is rated 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, and it has 64,433 ratings. So clearly this book is definitely a fan favorite of hers. I just hope that I like it more than I did Daisy Darker, and I'm curious to see if this will knock Rock Paper Scissors out of the top spot for me. The next book that I like to read is Take the Lead by Alexis Daria. So this is actually an ARC, and it doesn't publish until February 14th, 2023, right on time for Valentine's Day. We love to see it, but it was actually approved for this ARC by St. Martin's Press, so thank you so much, St. Martin's Press, for sending this my way. But right here the synopsis says, Gina Morales wants to make it big. In her 4 seasons on the dance-off, she's never even made it to the finals, but her latest partner, the sexy star of an Alaskan wilderness show, could be her chance. Who knew that strong, silent, survivalist type had moves like that? She thinks Stone Nielsen is her ticket to win it all, until her producer makes it clear they're being set up for a showmance. Joining a celebrity dance competition is the last thing Stone wants. However, he'll endure anything to help his family, even as he fears revealing their secrets. While the fast pace of LA makes him long for the peace and privacy of home, he can't hide his growing attraction for his dance partner. Neither wants to fake a romance for the cameras, but the explosive chemistry that flares between them is undeniable. As Stone and Gina heat up on the dance floor, the tabloids catch on their developing romance. With the spotlight threatening to ruin everything, will they choose fame and fortune, or let love take the lead? This just sounds like this is going to be so cute, and if you guys have been following my channel for a while, then you know how much I love Alexis Daria and her Primas of Power series. You Have Me at Hola and A Lot Like Adios. Those are 2 of my favorite romance books, and Alexis Daria is an auto-buy author for me, so when I saw that I was approved for this ARC, I was over the moon, because this just sounds like this is going to be right up my alley. I love when dance is involved in a movie or a show or a book. I was obsessed with the Step Up franchise when I was growing up. I have literally seen every single movie with the exception of the last one. I think that they came out with maybe 2 or 3 years ago. I haven't watched that one, but I have watched every single other Step Up movie, so this is speaking to my soul right now. Make sure you guys follow me over on my Bookstagram account, because I will be talking about this book over there when it gets closer to the pub date. So if you want to know my full thoughts on this book on the pub date, definitely make sure you check it out over there. So now we're going to get into the actual physical books that I have on my TBR for this month, and this one is a little bit heavy because it is a box set. I'm only reading 1 book out of it, but it was just easier to show you guys the actual box set. And so another book that I hope to read during the month of December is Twilight. You guys probably can't see it all that well because my ring light is really bright, but this is the complete box set of the Twilight saga, and it is in the white collection. But I have seen this box set on Amazon for so long. Every single time I browse the book section, I would always come across this, and I always thought that it was absolutely stunning. I don't know what it is, but this colorway gives Christmas, of course, but I just love it. It's just so calming to me, and I couldn't resist. I'll be sure to include a close-up clip of the box set as well as the actual Twilight books, so that way you guys can have a better visual understanding of how beautiful these books are. But I actually started reading Twilight, I want to say last year, and I think I started reading it around this time, and I checked it out from my library because they have like 1 million copies available. So I was reading it from my library, and every single time I would go to pick it back up, it was already time to return it. I know that I could have just kept renewing my loan, but I didn't want to deal with all of that, and I just hate the feeling of being rushed and pressured to read a book really quickly. So I just said, you know what, I'm just going to return this, and if I can thrift the Twilight saga, I will. But of course, when I went to different thrift stores around me, I was not able to find any copy of any of the Twilight books, which is insane because before the resurgence, I was able to find the entire saga and collection at pretty much every thrift store. Now it's damn near impossible, at least near me. So I decided to go on Amazon and just treat myself and buy, like I said, the white collection, and I don't regret it at all. And you guys are probably wondering, why am I even showing Twilight right now, and why am I even talking about it, because it's been out for what, like 15 years I think at this point. But I have never read Twilight. I never read it. I never joined in on the trend or the wave when it was actually really big and at its peak. I was always a Hunger Games girl. If it wasn't about the Hunger Games, I wasn't checking for it, to be honest. I wasn't really into series and sagas like that growing up, with the exception of the Hunger Games. So I just never really cared to dive into the world of Twilight, and my neighbor was obsessed with it, and so I would know about like the Team Jacob and Team Edward debacle and all of that stuff, but I didn't really know anything else about this besides the fact that it follows vampires and werewolves and all that stuff. But I decided that finally I'm going to step out of my ignorance and read the Twilight saga, because I just feel like I'm missing out, and I actually really want to watch the movies. I have seen bits and pieces of it, and it's actually held my interest, and so I really want to read the books first and then dive into the movies, just because I feel like that will give me the full 360 experience. If you couldn't tell, I'm really excited to read Twilight this month, and I definitely do plan on filming a reading vlog where I read this for the first time. And I actually saw that Mel Reads filmed a Twilight reading vlog where she read it for the first time in I think 15 years, and so I cannot wait to watch that video once I'm done this, because I'm curious to see if we're gonna have the same thoughts. Y'all, this one is really going crazy. I am so sorry if you can hear it. It is just intense out there, but we're gonna try to get through this as quickly as possible. The next book that I have here is From Luke Off with Love by Mariana Zapata. So yes, it's finally happening, you guys. I'm finally going to read my first Mariana Zapata book, and I'm so excited to finally be able to cross this book and her as an author off of my never read list, because I have heard nothing but glowing things about Mariana Zapata, and it just seems like she has taken BookTok by storm, which is really cool to see, because I think Mariana Zapata has been out for a while, so the fact that she's getting a lot of recognition on BookTok is just amazing to see. I just love that for authors, because exposure is everything. So really happy for Mariana Zapata. But anyways, From Luke Off with Love, a enemies to lovers sports romance, and that right there already checks off enough boxes for me, because I love those two things so much. And I heard that this book really does the enemies to lovers trope really well.
I'll be the judge of that.
But no, a lot of people have said that the enemies to lovers in this book is actually pretty good. So I cannot wait to dive into this one. This does follow a figure skater named Jasmine, and then her love interest Lukov. I'm not sure what he does. I just know that the sport in question here is ice skating and figure skating, and that's honestly one of my favorite sports. I love watching the figure skating competition during the Olympics, because I just think that this is such a beautiful sport, and it's obviously very difficult, because to be able to do all of those tricks and just to be able to balance yourself on ice is a feat all on its own. But like I said, being able to make it look so graceful and elegant while you're on the ice, I just have so much respect for figure skaters. I am a little nervous because this book is really long. As you can see, this is a chunker. This is about 531 pages, and Mariana Zapata is known as the queen of slow burn, and so I'm sure Jasmine and Lukov probably won't even kiss until page 525 if we're being completely honest, because that's how slow I heard Mariana Zapata's books are. I probably won't get to this until the end of the month, just because it is the longest book that I think that I have here in this pile, but either way, can't wait. The next book that I have here is Bunny by Mona Awad. I feel like this book needs no introduction. I think everybody and their mother knows about this book, or at least has seen it make its rounds on BookTok, Bookstagram, and Booktube, because it's been so popular for so long. And I truly feel like I'm the last person on earth to read Bunny. I'm not really sure what's been the holdup and why I haven't picked up this book yet. I'm not 100% sure, but I was supposed to read this last year and it just never happened. And then I was supposed to read it for another video that just got scrapped, but we're here now and we're gonna try to read it before 2022 is over. So the only thing that I know about this book is that it follows a group of girls who call themselves Bunny, and I think there's some dark academia vibe involved in this, and I think that this book is written in that way that My Year of Rest and Relaxation is written in, where it's kind of just like a stream of consciousness and you're also not sure what you're reading 100% of the time, and then you have to look up theories and, you know, the ending and all of that stuff on Google. Those are the vibes that I get from this book, and so I'm not really sure if I'm going to end up liking this or not. It really could go either way, but I am really looking forward to diving into this one finally, because this has been talked about and dissected so many times on the internet, and I just want to be able to join the discourse, and I'm just really hoping that December will finally be the time where I'm able to do that. The next book that I have here I've actually featured in countless TBR videos, and I think I've had this book on my TBR since the springtime, so we're hopefully finally making our way to it this month. But it is Cleopatra and Frankenstein by Coco Malors. So this is another book where I feel like it needs no introduction, and I have talked about it, like I said, in other TBR videos, but this does follow, I think, a group of artists, but more specifically a young woman named Cleo and an older man named Frank. Cleo is originally from England, but she ends up coming to America, specifically New York City, to try to find herself and to really kickstart her art career. And while she's in America, she's also stressing because her student visa ends in a couple of months, and so she's just dealing with all of that. But in the midst of all of that, she actually ends up crossing paths with Frank, who is 20 years older than her, and then I think Cleo and Frank end up in this whirlwind romance, but it's not as perfect as it seems. So this is definitely one of those slice of life women's literary fiction books, and I wanted to include this as well as Bunny on my TBR because I really want to get back into this genre. I really enjoy the few books that I have read that are categorized as women's literary fiction and just like literary fiction in general. And I think I was watching one of Jack from Jack in the Books videos, and he just has such a profound way of pitching you a book. If you guys haven't watched Jack's videos, I'm sure you have because he is really popular on Booktube, but if you haven't watched Jack's videos, definitely recommend checking him out. He has such a great way of pitching a book to you. Like the way that he talks about books and the way that he goes into the synopsises, he just does a phenomenal job. Truly like one of those booktubers where I'm just like, wow, I don't know how he does it, but he does it. And so I heard him talking about this book in one of his videos, and like I said, because he has a really good way of pitching you a book, I decided to bump this up on my TBR and to really get around to it before the end of the year. Sorry if the camera angle changed, y'all. I had to change my SD card because I was out of storage. But the next book that I have here is One of Us is Dead by Geneva Rose. So Geneva Rose is actually the author of one of my favorite psychological thrillers ever, and she is the author of The Perfect Marriage. I definitely recommend picking up that book if you are interested in psychological thrillers because it was an excellent book. But this is another one of her thrillers, and this one is definitely different than The Perfect Marriage because instead of focusing on a couple, this book actually follows a group of friends, and it's definitely giving me Real Housewives vibes, and I'm here for that. You guys know that I will pick up any book that has the Real Housewives type of dynamic in it because it's just so entertaining. I just can't get over the silly drama that pops up in these type of books. So like I said, this does follow a group of friends, and right here it says opulence, sex, betrayal. Sometimes friendship can be deadly. Meet the women of Buckhead, a place of expensive cars, huge houses, and competitive friendships. Shannon was once the queen bee of Buckhead, but she's been unceremoniously dumped by Bryce, her politician husband. When Bryce replaces her with a much younger woman, Shannon sets out to take revenge. Crystal has stepped into Shannon's old shoes, a young, innocent Texan girl. She simply has no idea what she's up against. Olivia has waited years to take Shannon's crown as the unofficial queen of Buckhead. Finally, her moment has come, but to take her rightful place, she will need to use every backstabbing, manipulative, underhand trick in the book. Jenny owns Glow, the most exclusive salon in town. Jenny knows all her clients' secrets and darkest desires, but will she ever tell? Who amongst these women will be clever enough to survive Buckhead, and who will wind up dead? They say that friendships can be complex, but no one said it could ever be this deadly. That just sounds like it's going to be right up my alley because we have the Real Housewives nature of it. This is also going to have the exploration of female friendships, especially toxic female friendships, and I am just really interested to read those type of books because it is just so fascinating to me how complex, nuanced, and intricate female friendships are. So definitely can't wait to get to this one at some point during the month, and I really hope that this is another book that I enjoy by Geneva Rose because she might have the potential to become a favorite thriller author. I'm not sure. I don't want to speak too soon, but if this book is as good as The Perfect Marriage, I might be able to say it, y'all. I might be able to say it. And the last thriller that I have here in this pile is I Found You by Lisa Jewell. So this is one of Lisa Jewell's older books, and I actually found this book when I was shopping one of Barnes & Noble's buy one get one 50% off sale, and I saw this on the website and it didn't have any reviews, I don't think. At least when I last checked. Maybe it does now, but this either didn't have reviews or it had really low reviews. So I'm really curious to see if I'll end up liking this book, because the plot for this sounds really interesting, but I can tell that this is going to be a slow burn thriller, and y'all know that I don't like slow burn thrillers at all. Like, that's just not my jam, but I do love me some Lisa Jewell. So I'm gonna give it a try and see how it goes, but I'm not 100% sure. So I'm actually just going to read the synopsis because there's so much going on. But right here it says, in the windswept British seaside town of Riding House Bay, single mom Alice Lake finds a man sitting on the beach. He has no name and no idea how he got there. Meanwhile, in a London suburb, newlywed Lily Monrose grows anxious when her husband fails to return home from work. But the police soon deliver even more disturbing news. The man she married never truly existed. 23 years earlier, Gray and Kirsty Ross are teenagers on a summer holiday with their parents. The annual trip to Riding House Bay is uneventful until an enigmatic young man starts paying extra attention to Kirsty. Something about him makes Gray uncomfortable, and it's not just because he's a protective older brother. Who is the man on the beach? Where is Lily's missing husband? And whatever happened to the man who made such a lasting impression on Gray? Do y'all hear that synopsis? That just sounds so complex and interesting, so I can't wait to see how this all plays out. I just really love this woman's writing style, y'all. I just do. I don't know. It's something about Lisa Jewell and Alice Feeney that I just really like, and I just want to read all of their books. All right, y'all, we have 3 more books left, and the next book that I hope to get to during the month of December is Always and Forever by Beverly Jenkins. So I need to tell you guys something. I actually read a Beverly Jenkins book back in September. It was called The Taming of Jessie Rose, and I forgot to mention it in my wrap-ups. I don't know what happened. I completely forgot to talk about it in my September wrap-up and my October wrap-up. So I'm going to try my hardest to remember to talk about it in my November wrap-up, because you guys know that I'm the Beverly Jenkins girl and I need to talk about these books with you guys, so my bad. But I did read a Beverly Jenkins book back in September, so now we're back with a new one for December. And this is one of her books that I'm actually the most excited to get to, not just because of the gorgeous cover. I love how they're staring at each other. So this story follows 2 characters, one named Grace and one named Blake, but Grace is very buttoned up and very straight-laced. She doesn't really veer off of the path too much, and she's not very rowdy. She doesn't really draw a lot of unnecessary attention to herself, but because of that, she hasn't really experienced life or really lived. One day she has to run this errand, but this errand requires her to go out of the state or out of town at least, and so in order to do that, she does want somebody to accompany her, and that's where her male love interest Blake comes in. And Blake is very rough around the edges, and I think Blake used to be an outlaw, I'm pretty sure. So him and Grace couldn't be any more different. He does agree to accompany Grace on this journey, but obviously throughout this journey you get to see these two starting to spend more time with one another, getting to know each other, and then fall in love along the way. So this is going to be just another quintessential Beverly Jenkins historical romance, and I'm really excited to read this one because this one has been on my radar ever since I bought it. I've been wanting to read this, but I've been putting it off so I could read other books. I just have a feeling that this one is going to be a 5-star. I'm calling it now. The last 2 Beverly Jenkins novels that I have read have been 4.5 stars. Still really great, but not that 5-star mark that I'm looking for. I'm really hoping that this is another 5-star for me, but time will tell. The second to last book that I have here is another romance, and it is Partners in Crime by Alicia Ray. So this book wasn't even on my radar until I went on Amazon. I was actually looking up more books to buy because I have a problem, clearly, but I was looking up more books to buy, more specifically romance books, because that's just what I'm into right now, you guys. I don't know what it is, but I just want all of the romance books. And the synopsis just sounded so cute and so absurd and theatrical that I knew I needed it in my collection. And I also love this cover. Can y'all see that? I hope you can. I'm not sure, but I hope you guys can see that cover. It's absolutely stunning. I'm just going to read the synopsis for this one because this is what hooked me, and y'all need to hear it too because it just sounds really crazy. But right here it says, Mira Patel's got an accounting career, good friends, and a whole lot of distance between her and her dysfunctional family. All that's missing is a stable romantic relationship. Armed with a spreadsheet and professional help, she sets out to find her partner in crime. Only legal activities. But much to her matchmaker's dismay, no one is quite right, including Naveen Desai, whom she unceremoniously rejected. Lately, Naveen's been too focused on keeping his sick grandfather's law firm afloat to think about love, and he's stunned when Mira walks back into his life to settle her aunt's affairs. He's determined to keep things professional, though it's impossible not to be intrigued by all of the secrets piling up around Mira. Suddenly, Naveen and Mira find themselves in a mad dash through Las Vegas to escape jewel thieves, evade crime bosses, and follow the clues to untangle the mess her family left behind. Mira despairs of ever finding someone who might understand her, but maybe, over the course of one wild night, she'll find that he's right by her side. Y'all hear that, right? Like, it just sounds so ridiculous, but I'm here for it. I'm ready and I'm seated. I can't believe that this takes place all over one night, so that's gonna be interesting. I hope that the pacing isn't weird, but we will see. I haven't read anything by Alicia Ray before. I know that she is the author of First Comes Like. I haven't read that yet. I might check that out if I end up enjoying this one. And this book is actually pretty long. It is about like almost 400 pages, so this is probably going to be another book that I don't really get to until like later on in the month, just because it is a bit longer, but I am really excited to read it nonetheless. And the last book that I have here is one that I'm just so excited that I finally have, and it means so much to me because it's signed. But the book that I'm talking about here is Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. So y'all, I have the new Kennedy Ryan book, and I'm so excited. So this one, like I said, is signed. I will show you guys a close-up in a different clip, but I actually got this book from a bookstore called Bookmarks, I'm pretty sure. I will leave their information linked down below. They are based in Salem, North Carolina, and Kennedy Ryan was on her Instagram, and she was talking about how you could go to the link in her bio to pre-order a signed, personalized copy of Before I Let Go, and it was going to be shipped out from Bookmarks. So I ended up doing that, and I'm so happy that I did, because now I have a signed edition by one of my favorite authors, and you guys know how much I love Kennedy Ryan. As you can see here, I have an entire shrine pretty much dedicated to the Hoop series, and now I have this one, so I'm just really over the moon about that. Also got these other little goodies right here. Like I said, I will show you guys a close-up in another clip, but this is just a graphic of the two characters in the story. I got this bookmark as well with the cover on the front, and then just some words on the back here. I think this is a little message from Kennedy Ryan talking about how much she loved writing this book, and she hopes that the reader will too. This is a second chance romance that follows a divorced couple, and you just follow them on this journey of finding their way back to each other. And that's all I need to know about the book, because I love second chance romance books. I actually have a video where I talk about some of my recs. I will leave that linked up above somewhere in the cards. But yes, really happy that I have this, and I cannot wait to dive into it, because I have heard nothing but great things about this book. Everyone on Bookstagram has been giving this book glowing reviews. Like, what Beyonce say, 10 10 10 across the board, okay? Like, that is what this book has been getting from all of my mutuals. And I know I told you guys that I will do a close-up of this book, but I just had to read to you what Kennedy Ryan wrote, and she signed it and said, Taya, be gentle with yourself, Kennedy Ryan. I love that. I love that so much. And be gentle with yourself is in quotation marks, so I wonder if that's a quote from the book. We will see. All right, y'all, and those are all of the books that I currently have on my December TBR. Now keep in mind that I am a mood reader. There will definitely be more books that I sneak in here that I haven't even talked about in this video or showed, and there are also other books from other TBR videos that I plan on reading during the month of December. I just didn't include them in here because I probably have talked about them extensively, so I decided to not even talk about them here. I just wanted to call that out anyways. So keep in mind that my December wrap up is probably going to look very different than this TBR, but that's okay. At the end of the day, I just really want to share these books with you guys, and I really want to show you guys what my library consists of. Even if I don't end up reading all of these books in the month that I say I will, it's still a fun way for me to gush about these books, and then it's also still great for you guys to see what books are out that you might not have heard of or might not have on your radar. So yeah, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Definitely make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps me my channel out. And lastly, please make sure you follow me on Bookstagram as well as Storygraph. I will leave all of that information linked down below, as well as at the end of the video like I always do. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!